Our Miami Dolphins just punched the NFL's number one pass defense in the mouth with a throwback offensive line ground and pound clinic. While the newest version of our quarterback, let's call it Visor-Tua for the program, dropped dimes all over the field like he was the second coming of Dan the Man. Did we just watch this team find its identity? Is this the momentum that we needed to string some sustained success together? I mean, hey, that's what we're here for. Let's talk about it. All right, welcome back to the 305 Gridiron, ladies and gentlemen. I am Josh, aka Aqua Ace, riding solo tonight while my co-host Anthony is out getting better, recovering from a cold. But yeah, if you're watching, it doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't. It feels weird not having you with me, man. Hope you get better soon. Quick shout out to the chat, which is popping off already. Let's scroll through, see who we got. We got all of our regulars. Blake, love to see you. Love to see you, buddy. Abel, thank you for joining. Hey, Anthony, you're in the chat, man. Thanks for hope you're feeling better, man. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to the big topic of conversation here. The final from Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins 34, Falcons 10. The polar opposite of what I thought was going to happen. Instant reactions of this game. We're going to go spend a couple minutes here just rattling shit off the top of my head about how I felt about this game. Please give me your opinions in the chat. I will pop them up as soon as I possibly can. This one, in my opinion, was all about attitude. This was a team that showed up today that seemingly had enough, that was ready to execute, that was ready to play big boy, adult, human being football. And it started, from the initial kickoff all the way through the final ones. This was a full team effort. Complementary football, all the way up to Mike McDaniel calling plays, the formations he chose, the scheme that was put together for going up against a team that was ranked number one in the nation. I'm talking college football here, number one in the NFL from a passing standpoint. Yeah, I understand. You're ranked kind of middle of the pack and run defense. However, they were the number one passing defense in the NFL going into week 8 against the Miami Dolphins. We kind of did whatever we wanted against them. And it was, it's something that I didn't know how to react in the moment because this season has been a shit show. I think we can all agree that this season has been questionable on a lot of fronts, and making us, the fans, have to have some serious conversations amongst ourselves in what's the direction of this team? Where's this team going? What needs to happen in our humble opinion, for whatever the hell that's worth? And, we were all real down, understandably so. But this game was a breath of fresh air. This game was something that I feel like the fan base needed to kind of galvanize themselves into what could be a very long stretch for the remainder of the season. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this is kind of the momentum grabbing win that we needed to snowball into multiple wins that we can string together, or maybe this is a flash in the pan. And whatever it is, it is. However, we're on the victory deck. We won. That's all that matters. And that is what I am going to try to focus on for the remaining of the show. I'm going to try to stay positive. As hard as it is with how this season has gone, we beat the snot out of Atlanta, and it was awesome to watch. I think for me, one of the biggest things in this game that I was paying attention to after I realized that we were going to win this game early on. It was pretty evident pretty early on that, unless a catastrophic disaster happened, we were going to win this game. I was looking at things like time of possession, for example. It was lopsided in the first half. It was lopsided in the second half. This was something that we capitalized on. We got them in 3rd and long situations, which allowed, Anthony Weaver to put kind of his speed pass rush demons on the field all together, and Chop and Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips all kind of rushing Kirk Cousins at the same time. And you saw pressure up the middle. You saw Jordan Brooks playing like a man possessed. You saw, the safeties coming in and laying wood. You saw, our rookies showing out. It was really fun to see. It was really, really fun to see. Another thing that I like to focus on when I watch games, win or lose, is how did Miami do on first downs? Well, we had 24 first downs versus Atlanta's 11. And I think paints a picture in and of itself. That paints the fact that we were able to have sustained drives kind of for the length of the game. And that's something that Miami hasn't been able to say for quite some time. And, it was nice to see Mike McDaniel seemingly chuck his playbook out. We didn't see a lot of screen. We saw a couple bubble screens, which infuriated me in the moments, but we're not going to talk about those. We saw him come in with a plan and stick to it. And it was a very good game plan for a defense that is, in my opinion, very underrated. Our defense came in with a game plan against an offense that I understand they were missing their kind of second year starting quarterback in Michael Penix. They were missing, in my opinion, one of the top 6 wide receivers in the league. And I'm blanking on his name now, of course, because I'm live on the show. I've been talking about it all day. And Bijan Robinson, I think, is a top 3 back in the NFL at worst. And this defense came in with a very solid game plan on how to contain what I presume to be Drake London. Thanks, Anthony. It's been a long day. Bijan Robinson is kind of in my opinion, the heartbeat of Atlanta's offense. So if you can focus in on stopping him, and he's in every phase of the game, he can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he's fast, he's strong, he hits like a Mack truck. Our defense honed in on him and said, look, if you guys are going to beat us, it's not going to be him. And that was something that we haven't seen all year, a defense play with purpose. We've seen a defense play off. We've seen a defense play disorganized. We've seen a defense play good in stretches and fall apart. This was a complete defensive effort from start to finish. And it was really, really cool to see. Flipping on the offensive side of the ball, kind of an instant reaction moment here. Achane was Achane. I mean, I think Achane is the heartbeat. He's our version of Bijan Robinson. I'm not saying they're, comparable in overall talent, if you will, call it from a Madden's rating, for example. But Achane is the heartbeat of our team. Achane this team goes as number 28 goes for us. And he was all over the place. He rushed the ball. He carried the ball 18 times. He had 5 receptions. He had a touchdown in the passing game. It was an all-around performance for him. And Tua, we should surgically fix a visor to his face for the remainder of his career, because I don't know if it was the visor. I don't know if it was the fact that half, one of his 2 eyes was almost completely swollen shut, and he just couldn't overthink things because he couldn't see them. I don't know, whatever it is, but let's poke him in the eye every Saturday and let's put a visor on him every Sunday, because this was the kind of Tua performance that we were accustomed to in 2023 and that we haven't seen, frankly, in a year and a half. He's been sporadic all over the place for a year and a half now. And, 20 of 26, 205 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, this was a complete performance from the standpoint of Tua. Tua's not the kind of guy that's going to go out and throw 600 yards in a game and 7 touchdowns, but 20 of 26, he was accurate. He was on point. And it was really cool to see him kind of get back into a groove. Is it sustainable? Who the hell knows? We'll find out. And I think that's the next phase, the next evolution of the conversation is, can you sustain this? Being a flash in the pan and showing out once is great. It's great for morale. It's great for media. It's great for us, podcasters and fans of the team. Can you go out and do it against a better teams? And can you do it on a regular basis, week in and week out? That's kind of the next question. And I'm not trying to or intending to kind of move the goalpost on this team or take away the shine from what was a very dominant win against a very good opponent. I just want to make sure that we live in the moment, but we're realist because what I don't want to happen, at least from my personal perspective, is for me to get overly excited and then they turn back into a pumpkin and we're like, okay, well, now I want to jump off a bridge. Um, you know, from a defensive standpoint as well, I would be remiss to not at least shout out, our linebacking core, who's on this show. If you're familiar with this show, you know that we have been very critical of our linebacking core. We've been very critical of our defense and our team, but we've been very, very critical of our linebacking core. And I think both Brooks and Dotson, I mean, they were the key in containing one of the best running backs in this league and the heartbeat of Atlanta and Bijan Robinson. They were all over the Brooks, and we'll get to him or I'll get to him. Sorry, I'm so used to saying we. I will get to him in our Legends and Letdowns segment, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I mean, they were everywhere. This is what Anthony and I envisioned when we were talking about this team, when we were talking about the front seven being a top 5 front seven in the NFL. This is what we were talking about. This is what we were expecting to see. And it was I don't know what they drank. I don't know what they ate, but wear the same shit, eat the same stuff. And please, 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 the love of God, for us fans, play like this every Sunday or Monday or Thursday, I guess, in this case. Before I get to key takeaways, which we on the show, if you're not familiar, for those of you that are, sorry for being repetitive, but for those of you that are new to the show, on our reaction shows, we have a little bit of kind of instant reaction of how we feel the game went. We get to the chat, which I will here in a moment, in a second. And then we get into key takeaways, top 3 key takeaways from the game. And then we get into who, I modestly call the best segment in sports media history, which is Legends and Letdowns, where we talk about, the good and the bad. And so on all of our reaction shows, like I just said, we believe in accountability, and, we want you, the chat, to be part of the show. We do this for you guys. So please, before we get into it, in the chat, throw in your legends or your letdowns or both. It can be a player, it can be a coach, it can be a phase of the game, it can be whatever you want. And I'll get to it when we get to that segment. Let me hit up the chat. I know you guys have been going nuts. Abel, welcome to the show. Victory Monday. I love it. Yes, Victory Monday indeed. It was nice going into the office and I work in an office with a bunch of Patriots fans because I live up north. Bunch of Patriots fans, bunch of, a couple Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and so on and so forth. So it was nice to finally come in and not have to hide in the corner. Let's see. Who do we got? Finn Spin. Welcome back. Let's see. Blake. We here, brother. Yes, sir. Let's see. Here we go. Blake, beautiful game plan. I'm honestly, but yeah, this is something that I want to take a moment to talk on, because we have been excruciatingly critical of Mike McDaniel, and rightfully so. I think he's deserved every bit of criticism that he's received from us on this show, which we all are well aware that he watches on a weekly basis, but mostly in the media and kind of in his own building. But this was a beautiful game plan. This was a game plan with purpose. You saw a coach who understood what the opponent was going to do based on the players that Atlanta had available to them. And you saw both Mike McDaniel from an offensive side of the ball and Anthony Weaver from a defensive side of the ball game plan and do very purposeful things to make sure they took away all of the first and second options. I mean, every other defensive snap, Bijan and Kyle Pitts were covered or blanketed or doubled in some capacity with somebody low, somebody high, somebody in the pocket, somebody off to the edge. And it was awesome to see, because Kirk Cousins then had to beat us. He was the one that we said, okay, if we're going to lose, you are going to have a monster game. And Kirk Cousins is not that kind of player anymore. He has his flashes. He was good at when he was in Minnesota. I mean, 173 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. That is kind of a meh game. And that's exactly what we were hoping for. And let's see what else we have. Abel, 2.6 yards per carry for Atlanta. The defense stepped up, and we played complimentary football finally for once this year. Yes, 100%. Could not agree with you more. I think, you know, complementary football is something that we have been begging this team to do. Show us that you get it. Show us that you understand the fundamentals of football and that you can game plan and you have then a secondary plan to adjust to the adjustments, if you will, because what we were focused on, or what I was frustrated with, rather not focused, frustrated on, was this seeming stubbornness of Mike McDaniel to ever go away from what he went into the game planning for. There seemingly were no adjustments in the second half of games. There were no adjustments in real time in the first half, in the first quarter when things weren't going right. It was just bubble screen after bubble screen after bubble screen and hope for the best. We'll see what happens. Maybe our playmakers will make a play. So yes, complementary football was big here. It's something that I hope we see. Finspin, what's up, brother? Let's see. I had a thought on that visor acoustics. It should hold a little of the outside noise out and act like a bit of an echo chamber from the sideline. Yeah, that's also very true. Look, whatever it takes. I don't care if Tua has to wear earplugs and wear a visor and a Pirates patch. I don't care. Like, let's do it, right? I don't care how ridiculous you look. I don't care, if you need it, but I am a creature of habit. I wear the same thing every Sunday. Although ironically enough, I wore something different this Sunday. So now that's my new outfit because we won. And I'm superstitious, weirdly superstitious like that. So yes. What else we got? Cap for life. What's up, brother? This visor is the key to a playoff run. Yes. I agree. Visor-Tua is our new favorite Tua. We've had, we had Alabama Tua, then we had Brian Flores Tua, then we had, and I say this very tongue-in-cheek because I understand concussions are no joke. We had gang sign Tua, then we had salty Tua and sassy Tua, and I'm gonna not have a filter Tua, and now we have visor Tua. We've had multiple iterations of our quarterback over the time that he's been with this team, and it's visor Tua is a good Tua. So let's hopefully he sticks with it, whatever works really. The other thought I had on the visor was it probably hindered the defense from reading his eyes, because Tua, at least this season, has struggled with locking on to his targets. So maybe the glare might have helped the defense kind of not be able to read his eyes a little or as well as they have for the season, but who the hell knows? All right, we'll get back to the chat. Please continue to blow up the chat. Really appreciate each and every one of you for showing up and for continuing the conversation there. Let's get into the kind of top 3 key takeaways from this game for Miami Dolphins versus the Atlanta Falcons. So for me, my first key takeaway in this game was it was an identity check. I mean, this is a team that has gone through the gauntlet, has gone through injuries, has gone through questions and criticisms and concern and quasi accountability and so on and so on and so on. And this was a team that came out and said, okay, what we have been doing. And look, before I continue, I understand this is in a single game sample. This is not something that we can hopefully it's something we can hang our hat on, but we don't know what's really going to happen. Maybe Mike goes back to, weeks 1 through 6 and starting next week, and we're back into the shit show. But in my opinion, this was an identity check. This was, we're going to run with power and we're going to play with pace. Miami leaned into the heavy personnel. We talked about it earlier. I think it was over 50%. I want to say I read something. It was like 57% of the offensive snaps. We had 6 offensive linemen on the field. There was 19 minutes of football possession by the offense in the first half. There were 18 first downs. There was a 79-yard tone-setting touchdown drive kind of to start the game off for Miami when we got our first touchdown. This is something that is, in my opinion at least, repeatable. And this is something, and I stole this from somebody that I heard on the broadcast. They said, this is travel-ready football. This is how you play and how you have to play, with aggression, with power, with anger, with violence, with put your big back boys on the field and let them clear away for our star running backs, right? Let the run set up your pass. Do not make your pass set up the run. And I understand Mike McDaniel has been preaching for years. Well, the bubble screens and all of those short yard passes and the passes behind, those are like an extension of the run game. Fuck that. Put your big backs on, run behind them, and really beat your opponent into submission. And that's what we did this game. We set the tone on the ground first, and you saw what it did in the pass game, and it was amazing to see. It was a breath of fresh air. This was, it was cool to see Tua playing with confidence. It was cool to see Achane playing with confidence, which he always does. It was great. It was really great to see 37 total carries from this team. Ollie Gordon was involved. Jalen Wright was involved. We had 37 total carries in the game versus 21 total passes in the game. That is sustainable. And that is how this offense, this is what we should strive to be every week. Now, asterisks. I understand if you're down 20 some odd points or 17 points or even double digits, it's hard to commit to the run. But this is how you start a game off, in my opinion. You don't want to go 3 and out. You want to impose your will on the other team so that it is very well understood early on and often that, we're going to do what we want when we want, and it's up to you to stop us. We're not going to beat ourselves. And that was one thing that I think was really good in this game, was we didn't beat ourselves a lot. Did we have stupid ass penalties, a couple here and there? Of course. I mean, that we're a team still learning how to play football. I say that jokingly, but maybe not so jokingly. And there were some, there was a couple on Patrick Paul. I think it was back-to-back penalties or, 2 penalties in 3 plays where he canceled out a good chunk gain to Malik Washington, or maybe it was Achane. I can't remember. No, it was Ollie Gordon. It was an Ollie Gordon run, and he got a holding or a false start, or I don't know, whatever. But for the most part, this team played in unison. This was the offensive side of the ball were playing together. They were playing complementary football, to Abel's point earlier, and the defense was coming in, not having to play 80% of the first half snaps because the offense can't stay on the field. This was a fun game. This was something that I really hope we get to string some wins together, and we've changed the way we approach the game. All right, takeaway number 2, rookies. I want to talk about some of our rookies. They raised the floor. Some would say they raised their own ceilings as well. Savaiinaea was a much maligned rookie on our team. Somebody that I was very excited about, that we traded up for. We traded picks rather to move up in the draft to draft him. I think I loved him coming out of college. I thought he was, exactly what this team needed at the right guard position. Little did I know they were going to throw him at the left guard position. And it's been a struggle for him all year. It really has been. He's been a player that has been learning on the fly, and you can see it. You can see he's a rookie, and that's okay. Look, you guys know this. I've said it until I'm blue in the face. Anthony, I know you're not on the show, but I'm going to hear you roll your eyes. I know you're going to roll your eyes when I say this. I give our rookies grace because it is hard to play in the NFL. There is a steep learning curve. It is much different than high school to college, which is a substantial jump in talent. You're playing with the best of the best of the best. You have first rounders across the board at every position. And Jonah's been struggling. I mean, he's been bad. He's been really bad. And you have players like, Trader Jr. and Jalen Wright, who was, hey, I didn't even know he was on the team. I haven't seen him in weeks. Ollie Gordon, who is somebody that I am infatuated with from a talent standpoint. I think you look back a couple of years ago, I think he would have been a top half of the first round type running back. And we got him in round 6, I think, 5 or 6. Or 6, I think it was. You can see the talent, and you can see the aggression, and you can see the dedication to their craft and the way that they approach the game. In this game, at least, I can say comfortably, a lot of them didn't play like rookies. They played like NFL veterans, and it was awesome to see. I got to tell you, when Ollie Gordon's in there, Anthony and I are on our kind of our text chain together, and with some of our other Dolphins friends. And I'll tell you what, man, when he gets the ball, it is exciting because it reminds me of the times when we had a solid 1-2 punch. When we had Ronnie and Ricky, for example, I'm not comparing the two by any stretch, but that is the era that I reminisce about when I see Achane and Ollie on the field, right? And it's cool, man. It's really, really cool. We had Malik Washington, who's, I know, not a rookie, but I mean, he had a hell of a game. That touchdown catch, I understand it was a phenomenal tight window throw. Whew, holy shit, though. That catch was amazing. That touchdown catch was amazing. And and then you go on to the defensive side and you have, Trader Jr. I saw, here, Anthony's here, Trader Jr. with a huge pass breakup. Thing of beauty. It really is. I mean, he played grounded. And for somebody that I felt like was wrongfully benched because of some team errors in the previous couple games, it was nice to see him back on the field. It was nice to see, and I know this is not about the rookies, but it was really nice to see our safety room as a whole come together and actually show up and play football. And, going back to Ollie Gordon real quick, his 20-yard touchdown catch was amazing. You could see how excited he was when he was doing he like didn't know if he should celebrate going into the end zone. He was like half-assed high step in and he's like, nah, I'm good. And then he got really excited and let the emotions take over for his first. Was that his first NFL touchdown? Chat, keep me honest. I don't know if that was his first or his second NFL touchdown. I believe it was his first. But yeah, it was really cool to see a team, and specifically rookies, play and enjoy what they're doing on the field, right? They're not overthinking it. They're not being too hard on this. Everyone's having a hell of a game, right? And so they can just sit there and let their instincts take over. First receiving touchdown. There it is. Fin spin. Thank you so much. And there's Anthony again. First receiving touchdown. That's beautiful. And Savaiinaea, I'll say this one last thing about Savaiinaea. As you guys know, I talk about him a lot. He had a key block on 3 of the 4 touchdowns that we had that we had in this game. And he was everywhere. He was out in space. He was pancaking people. I watched one play. I forgot what it was. I think it was on one of Achane's kind of 14-yard scrambles where Achane ran behind Savaiinaea and Patrick Paul for a good 14, 15-yard chunk. He literally picked somebody up with one hand and slammed him on the ground and ran ahead of Achane. It was it was really cool, man. It was really, really cool. And hopefully this is something that these rookies can stack on top of each other. These small victories, these small kind of wins that lead to a big team victory. And they kind of use it as fuel and knowledge to bring into the next game, which will then kind of build on that and build into the third game and so on and so forth. And they can really start stringing some plays together. All right, number 3 on my key takeaways. Man, this defense, fast, swarming. I mean, just fucking everywhere. It was awesome. And I'll talk about Jordan Brooks here in a little bit on our Legends and Letdown segment, which again, before I continue, if you haven't already, please in the chat list, if you have both, one of each, if you have a bunch of legends or a bunch of letdowns or some of each, please put them in the chat. I want to be able to pop them up on the screen. It can be a player. It can be a coach. It can be a legend. For me was the offensive game plan. It doesn't matter. Whatever you thought contributed to the victory and whatever you thought contributed to us potentially losing from a letdown standpoint, please put in the chat. So the third and final key takeaway for me, again, was this defense kind of all over the place. They were swarming. They were angry. They were violent. They were, most importantly, there were no penalties. There were not a lot of defensive penalties. There was a couple. One on Rasul Douglas. That's questionable. But, early on, Kyle Pitts kind of had a couple receptions, and I texted Anthony. I was like, Jesus, here we go. For a team that can't cover tight ends, here we go. We're gonna make Kyle Pitts look like the Pro Bowler that everyone thought he was going to be when he came out of college. However, we shut that down quick, which is great. But other than that, they didn't really do much. I mean, Bijan had under 50 yards total. He had 9 carries for 25 yards. He had 3 receptions for 23 yards. Quick math on the show, which is always dangerous. It's under 50 yards on the game. And I mean, not much from anyone else. Kyle Pitts had 9 receptions on 9 targets for 59 yards. Look, this team, I've been a fan. I'm almost 40. I've been a fan my whole life. We've never been able to cover tight ends. So Not surprising that Atlanta's tight end was their number one receiver. However, we didn't give up any kind of, in my opinion, at least, this defense was very disciplined. It did not give up big plays in key moments that can swing momentum. This was you guys are going to meticulously bring the ball down the field, and we are going to force you to make the right decision at the right time of every play, or you're going to go 3 and out. And that's what happened over and over and over again. Atlanta's offense went 3 and out over and over and over again. Brooks had a sack, multiple blitzes, a bunch of tackles for losses. Rasul Douglas was everywhere with TFLs and pass defenses. And, he was kind of, from a cornerback standpoint, in my opinion, he was the best cornerback on the field. Admittedly, I didn't realize Storm Duck was even back on the field, but, we'll talk about injuries in a minute. Dotson, I've been very critical. Anthony has too, of Dotson. I was a big advocate to re-sign him, and I'm glad he's on the team, but he has not been playing well this year, in my opinion, at least. And he played very well this game. I mean, he was everywhere. He was, I'm trying to look up his stats real quick, and I'm doing a shit show job. So 5 total tackles, 3 solo, a couple pass defenses. It was really great. It was really great to see. Sealer, holy shit, Zach Sealer, where have you been? Anthony was about to put you on a milk carton. Really great to see Sealer kind of make an impact in this game on a few big moments where there was momentum starting to build for Atlanta. There was, Sealer, there he was, tackle for loss on Bijan, assisting a sack, or, forcing Kirk Cousins to roll into a sack that Brooks had. It was really cool to see. It really was. And this defense was playing with, and I know I said it, this defense played with a lot of discipline, but this defense was playing like they were just out there having fun. I don't know what kind of conversations went on, but if you compare the defense this week against Atlanta, against the defense last week, they look like completely different teams. I mean, the two teams look completely different, but the defense specifically looks completely different than it did most of the season. This team looked loose. They looked prepared. They looked like they weren't overthinking things. Players were doing, this is something that Anthony and I say quite a lot. Players were doing their 1/11th. They weren't trying to do too much. And it was really cool to see, man. It was really, really cool to see. It really was. All right. So before I get into legends and letdowns, let's hit the chat up. I know you guys have been going nuts there. Thank you so much. Anthony, thanks for holding down the chat. Let's see. Offensive line did an excellent job opening holes for the run and protecting our lovely Visor-Tua. Yes, I agree. 100%. Jonah's Samoan warrior dance in the locker room after the game was worth the extra. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. That was amazing to see. And it was really cool to watch. I think it was Brooks and I can't remember who the other one was. Maybe Fatu Melufanu. I can't remember, but they were doing it with him. It was really cool. It was really, really cool to see. Anthony here, this was talking about Ollie Gordon being a 6th round. What a steal. Could not agree more. I think we were both, or all of us, Taylor and Keith included, the 4 of us were like, dude, I can't believe he's still there. Like, that's insane. Because, coming out this year, I had a 3rd round grade on him. Last year, I had a top 26 top 26 of the 1st round pick grade on him if he would have come out a couple of years ago. So the fact that we got him in the 6th, and I understand running backs aren't kind of well received in this league. Their value is perceived less than it really is. So it was really great that we got not only Ollie Gordon on this team, but also his contract for the next couple of years is very team friendly. Let's see. When Ollie is in, the chat blows up. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. A bunch of first touchdowns. Yep. Thank you for keeping me honest, chat, on his touchdown, on Ollie Gordon's touchdowns on the year. Let's see. What do we got? We should all play the lottery. I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, I would love to win the lottery. I'd be doing this full time. Let's see. FinSpin Legends. They're finally having fun all together again. Yes, that's big. That's big. And I think that is something that, we tend to forget because, hey, these are grown men making millions of dollars and they're playing a game. Yeah, well, they're playing a game. At the end of the day, they're playing a game. And yes, it's violent. And yes, it's cerebral and it's a chess match. And I get all that. But Finspin, you are 100% correct. When players are having fun and they're not overthinking things and they're not thinking about, well, these 5 media members in the paper and on their website were talking shit about me before the game, and I'm in my head. These guys are out there, no fucks were given. They were like, you know what, fuck it, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out on our terms. And they play with their hair on fire, and it was great because they were having fun. They were dabbing each other up, they were high-fiving, they were celebrating together. The sidelines were amazing to watch. If you go back and watch the replay of the game, spend some time in the second quarter and halfway through the third quarter and watch the sidelines, because they were high-fiving. There were conversations going on. It was really fun to watch. Let's see what else we have. Anthony, big play. Willie Gay saw the field and we dominated. Coincidence? No, this is something that Anthony and I, as most of you that are regulars on the show, are familiar with. We are big play Willie Gay advocates. We want him to be on the field much more often. And for some reason, I don't know if Anthony Weaver heard him talk shit about his wife or something. I don't really know, but for some reason, Willie Gay's not playing, and not playing enough, in our opinion. So it was really nice to see him on the field and really kind of and make a distinct impact on the game, which was really cool. Legends. Let's see. We have one. For me, we played good in all 3 phases. The bad, the letdowns. We continue to have penalties on the offensive line. Yes, could not agree with you more. The penalties is something that Anthony and I talk quite often about, because it's one thing to make a mistake, but it's another when it always seems to happen when something positive happens. Achane 80-yard touchdown. Oh, insert offensive lineman. Aaron Brewer gets called for a illegal shift or an illegal motion or holding or a hands in the face. Larry Borum is another one. It always seems to the penalties on the offensive line always seem to happen when something big and positive happens. And yeah, it happened a few times this game, albeit a lot less than we expected, a lot less rather than we are used to. I don't have the stats in front of me for how many penalties we had, but I want to say it was 4, 5, something like that, which is great. Atlanta, they had a shitload of penalties. So we feel you, bud. We feel you. For those of you, all of those Atlanta fans that are watching this, I feel you. We feel your pain. Let's see. Blake, they rolled over Atlanta. Didn't see that coming. Something has changed. Hopefully it sticks. Yes, this is what we were talking about earlier. This is the type of performance and the type of scheme and the type of game plan and the type of kind of complement. And I know, Blake, you said this earlier, complementary football that we need to see on a day in and day out basis in practice, in film study, in birthday parties they go to. I mean, it all plays a part for the team to show up on Sunday or Monday or Thursday, whatever it is, to play as a cohesive unit. It starts in the film room. It starts in practice. It starts at home. It starts everywhere. And it was really, really cool to see a team that seemingly came together. Is it for one game? Is it for the rest of the season? We don't know. That's what we're here for. We'll find out. But it was really cool to see. Only letdown for me is Larry Borum was somehow seen as good depth. Yeah. I think, and it's hard because Larry Borum is not a good starter. How would Larry Borum play in his real role as kind of our first backup off the bench? Who knows? Because Chris Grier decided to both draft and sign and re-sign every injured offensive lineman known to man. So this is kind of what we get. We have an entire right side of the line whose starters haven't seen more than a game and a half. So, hey, we'll see. Well, the good news is it can't get much worse than Borum, I don't think. He is not playing very good football right now, but the other players around him are playing well, at least in this Atlanta game. And we're trying, Anthony, I know I'm trying to find a silver lining when it comes to Borum. So if he is the lone, meh player, hey, I'll take it. I really will. Let's see what we have. Finspin with Frank Smith not in the booth. When that cat's not away, the mice don't play on the sideline, and the operation was a smooth spin. Yeah, this is a really good point. I don't think this is a coincidence. And I thought I saw Frank Smith on the sideline, but I didn't believe it because he's always in the press box. And it was really cool to see a different side of him because he was there. He was having meetings with Tua. He was having meetings with the offense. He was celebrating when good things went wrong. He was holding people accountable on the sidelines. There's a couple panovers from on the national broadcast of the game where you saw him laying into to people, and it was really cool to see. I kind of like, oh shit, Dad's in the house. We can't fuck around anymore, right? And I think that's kind of your point here. So yeah, really, really good point. All right. Oh, Abel, sorry, just saw you. Legends was Douglas. Yeah, I could not agree more. We'll get to him in a moment. Let down was Patrick Paul only because he had a couple of false start penalties. And yes, we understand you have to be nitpicky, but when the team puts forth a performance like they did, you got to hold people accountable where accountability is needed. And for all of the good that Patrick Paul did, those could have, if this game was a lot closer, those 2 false starts could have cost us. All right. Oh, just got one more in and then I'll jump over. If we repeat what we did this Sunday, we could have a chance to make the playoffs. Okay. Let's take a breath. Let's not be too much in the moment. Yes, sure. Anything's possible. We've done it before. But I need to see it more than just every other 6 game, right? If we come out and we play like this next week against early, I mean, we have a short week. I think we play Baltimore on Tuesday or on Thursday with Lamar's. Of course, Lamar's coming back. He couldn't, he has to come back against us, right? He couldn't sit out for one more game. Let's see a couple games. We have some real tough ones coming up. Let's see it against them, even if it's not a victory. I'd like to see this team play the way they did, and then we can have the conversation about playoffs. But yes, the spirit of your point is agreed on. All right, let's go with let's start with legends. Anthony, I have yours and I have mine, so I'm just going to read them all as if they were mine. First legend of the game obviously goes to the heart and soul of this team, Achane. I thought there was a cool stat that Kyle Krabs mentioned on his podcast. Achane is the fastest player in franchise history to reach 30 touchdowns. I know that's not necessarily about this game, but that just speaks to his impact on this team. And that is with the fact that he's missed quite a substantial amount of time in the grand scheme of things. And he was everywhere in this game. I mean, he was 18 carries for 67 yards. He had 5 receptions for just under 30 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he is the engine, part of the, a key piece of the engine rather to make this team go. And it was really, really cool to see. Another legends of this game was obviously wide receiver 1. And yes, Anthony, you're not here to tell me no. So I'm going to say it and scream it at the top of my lungs. Wide receiver 1 in the league, Jalen Waddle. I'm not saying he's the best wide receiver in the league. I'm saying he's a wide receiver number 1 on the team. Anthony seems to disagree. 5 receptions, 99 yards and a touchdown. Wish he could have gotten 1 more yards because I have him on both of my dynasty teams. Because you get the extra points when you hit 100, but 5 receptions, 99 yards, a touchdown, a beautiful catch and run for his touchdown, was making impactful plays left and right. It was really, really cool to see. And Anthony mentioned it. I don't know if it was last show or the show before. He gave him flowers with his ability and his fluidity on how he runs his routes and what he does after he catches the ball in most cases. And I thought you saw that today, and it was really, really cool to see. The next one on our legends list is Jonah Savaiinaea. At least 5 key blocks that I watched on the replay. 3 of those key blocks were on 3 of the 4 touchdowns that we had in this game. He was a difference maker in this game. And it was something, it was something that you saw that was really kind of a breath of fresh air with him, because it's been a lot of bad. It's been very hard to defend him, if I'm being completely honest. And, it was one of those things. It was one of those games where he was locked in. You could tell he wasn't overthinking. And this is a theme of the show, if you haven't picked up on it. He wasn't overthinking it, right? He kind of, it seemed like, obviously I'm not in his head and I'm not on the sidelines yet. But it seemed like he blocked all the noise out. And it's one thing to say it and it's one thing to do it. And he was playing loose, he was playing fast, and he was playing angry, which is something that he was touted to do coming out of college. He was a big, fast, angry motherfucker, and that's what he played like, and it was amazing. Next on our legends, on our collective legends board, Jordan Brooks. Fuck, Jordan Brooks showed up today. 10 total tackles, 7 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 3 TFLs. And for those of you that don't know, that stands for tackles for loss, behind the line of scrimmage. 2 of them were on Bijan Robinson, and one of them was on one of their own Atlanta's bubble screens that didn't work. Jordan Brooks blew the fuck out of the wide receiver. It was awesome. Jordan Brooks has been stringing together a few games now where he's starting to play like the difference maker we know he is, and it's really nice to see. All right, next on our legends list is none other than the rookie running back, Ollie Gordon II. Ran like a man possessed. Is the in big bold letters that I have written. He was angry. He was running with ferocity, and it was amazing to watch. He was our designated short down back for most of the game. I know Jalen Wright got a few of those, but 10 carries, 46 yards, almost 5 yards a clip. 1 reception. He had the 20-yard touchdown reception with a key block from none other than Jonas Savaiinaea on that reception as well. Man, Ollie Gordon is starting to figure it out. I'm telling you what, we have a hell of a 1-2 punch. And last but certainly not least, none other than version 17.5 of our quarterback, Visor-Tua Tagovailoa. 20 for 26, 205 yards and 4 touchdowns. And most importantly, no interceptions. Let me hit the chat real quick. What do we have? Nothing much that we haven't already touched. All right, let's get into the letdowns for the Miami Dolphins and Atlanta Falcons game this past weekend. The first letdown that we have is none other, and it was mentioned quite a few times in the chat, the number 79 himself, Larry Borum. Continues to get dumb penalties and costly moments and kind of be the sole frequent regular dumpster fire across the offensive line. Now, can you say, yeah, he's playing out of position or playing out of, position on the depth chart? Sure. He's starting when he's not a starter in the NFL. He came in and was touted as a quality backup. Quality backup is the backup. I don't know if he's quality because he sure the fuck isn't playing like quality right now. And it's every week. And it's kind of just one of those things that you're like, all right, well, he's going to be bad. Hopefully everyone else can play good. Next on the letdowns, early touchdown, Jesus Christ. Tight end coverage from a defensive standpoint. I mentioned it earlier. Kyle Pitts had 9 receptions for almost 60 yards. We still can't cover tight ends. I don't know what it is about tight ends that we just can't figure it out. We have the linebackers to do it. We have the safeties to do it. Brooks probably isn't one of them. Maybe we shouldn't be dropping our rookie defensive tackle into covering a tight end, which didn't happen this game, thankfully. But it's something that has happened way too frequently enough for us to mention it on the show a few times. But yeah, we still are working towards figuring out how to consistently cover tight ends. We do it in flashes. We just need to learn how to do it consistently. Another letdown on this game for me was the red zone stall leading to field goals. I think with how this season has gone and what we have seen this team do, or rather not do, when we get into the red zone, you have to capitalize. We are not going to be playing the Atlanta Falcons every week. We have a relatively tough schedule for the remainder of the season with quite a few games coming up. Or quite a few challenging games coming up. Obviously, we have a few games coming up. The season's not over yet. And we can't afford to do all of the right things getting into the lower red zone just to throw 3 bubble screens, go 3 and out, and kick a field goal. Because where I would like to believe that this team can rely on a defensive effort that we saw against Atlanta, I'm not there yet. I wouldn't bet the house on it. If you put a gun to my head, I would take the under for performances. So now if we can string together some stuff, maybe change the narrative a little bit, then maybe we can stay positive about this. But the red zone stalls, especially in the lower red zone, man, that's tough. That's really, really tough. Next letdown of this game, we have a couple more, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, fellas. Bad penalties and big moments. We've talked about it. We just got done talking about Larry Borum. We talked about it in the chat. enough with the dumb penalties. I mean, yes, I understand the refs can't necessarily get it right all the time, but there were some questionable calls on the penalty front. There were also quite a few, well, not quite a few. There was a couple boneheaded calls, a couple false starts pointed out in the chat by Patrick Paul, which luckily didn't cost us the game. Larry Bourne is a walking penalty. Rasul Douglas got flagged on. Okay, I understand he was kind of holding the arm, but they were both fighting for the ball. So, I mean, that's a 50-50 shot. I don't think that, I think that was a little bit of a ticky-tack call, but nonetheless, it was a penalty on the record. So, just need to tighten up a little bit and keep reducing the amount of penalties that we average per game, because it has not been good this year. And last, but certainly not least, this one's a little kind of pissing the Cheerios, if you will. Our injury luck. Storm Duck came back from an injury, which he was coming back from another injury before he got injured last time, only to get injured again, and he's out for the season. He's on IR officially. I did not read what it was. I want to say it was an ankle. Maybe it was a knee. I don't really know. All I know is he's on IR. He's officially done for the year. Minkah had the thumb injury. They said, if this wasn't a blowout, he would have, if he needed to go play, he would have been able to go back in. But it's these little things that just add up and add up and add up. So hopefully we've seen enough injuries. Excuse me. We've seen enough injuries on the year. We've had plenty across the offensive line. We lost, our massive difference maker in Tyreek Hill. We have some key injuries in the cornerback room, quite a few, to be honest with you. Now we have another one, a Storm Duck. It's just, when is enough for the football gods that are in the NFL here. That's all we have for Legends and Letdowns, ladies and gentlemen. Please let us know in the chat what your thoughts were, or let me know in the chat what your thoughts were. Did you agree with the players that we called out for on their Legends? Did you agree with or disagree with the letdowns that we chose? Who are your legends? Who are your letdowns? Let us know. We will always we will always respond to comments, whether they're live or whether they're after the fact. We appreciate them nonetheless. Let's hit the chat one more time before we close this bad boy out. Let's see. What do we got? If we repeat the song, we can make the playoffs. Yes, we already talked about that. That drop pass. Yeah. Okay. So this is a good point. This is a good point. Waddle's drop pass. He got bailed out by a pass interference. Yes. Okay, cool. I think that's true. Still a number one wide receiver on this team, in my opinion. And you're not here to disagree, and I'm not going to put up any of your chats. So there you go. Let's see. Finspin, when Bijan fumbled, I got some serious Angels in the outfield vibes, the way the ball blasted out and touched him. Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. That was really crazy when he like jump cut too low and his knee hit the ball out of his own hand. That was nuts, dude. That was absolutely nuts. I've never personally seen that before in my life. I mean, look, hey, I'll take whatever we can get, if I'm being completely honest, man. All right. So look, I think that's going to do it for us here. I'm riding solo tonight, so I don't want to just listen to myself talk, but really do first, before I do, any kind of outro and we get out of here, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you that joined us live in the chat. Each and every one of you that watched this after the fact, please smash that like button. You guys are what really makes the show special. You guys are why we do this. If you like what you heard, make sure to hit that smash button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with your fellow Fins friends. We are so close to our stretch goal. We have a stretch goal November 11th. We're trying to get to 75 subscribers. We are super close. I think we're 6 away. Please help us get there. We have multiple stretch goals as we start progressing through those stretch goals. For those of you that comment on our live shows, live and in living color, there will be giveaways. There will be maybe a Dolphins jersey up for grabs, potentially. We'll talk about it when we get closer. Just please hit that like and subscribe button. It really keeps us doing what we're doing. A couple live shows a week. We will be back Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, with our full preview of the Dolphins-Ravens matchup, breaking down everything that goes into that game, what Lamar Jackson's potential return means for this game. How does Derrick Henry's seemingly bounce back from a rough season look in regards to Miami? How did Miami's performance against Atlanta? What does that mean again for this short week turnover? on behalf of myself, Josh, aka Aqua Ace, and Anthony, who's here in spirit, thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for chatting, and thanks for the support. Fins up, baby.